Hey guys, Vega here, and today we're going to be doing a deep dive into the Jades of 9 Souls. We'll be getting into the numbers, synergies, uses, and basically anything you could want to know about them. There are 28 unique Jades in total, but in today's episode we'll be focusing on the green Jades, including Stasis, Mob Quell Yin, Mob Quell Yang, and the Steely Jade, all of which are focused on buffing the talisman attacks. Before we delve in though, just a heads up that we now have a Discord, so if you want to come and hang out and have a chat, I'll leave a link below. Now, without further ado, let's jump right in. First up we have the Stasis Jade. The Stasis Jade is obtained pretty early on by defeating the Red Tiger Elite Beisheng mini-boss located in the 8-man facility. This Jade costs 2 CP to equip and gives talisman attacks a small stun effect when passing through enemies. This is particularly useful early on as it gives some much needed breathing room as you get used to the game's punishing combat system. The stun duration differs from enemy to enemy, and as a general rule, the stronger the foe, the shorter the duration. The duration does seem to be at set increments. Basic enemies, as well as some elites, generally the lighter more agile ones, are stunned for a full 1 second. Elites, except those I mentioned above, will generally be stunned for only half a second, and finally, bosses will only be stunned for 0.2 seconds. It's also worth noting that this stun doesn't actually interrupt or cancel the boss's moves, and if the boss was about to ruin your day right before you stunned it, you better hope you aren't in the same place after those 0.2 seconds are up, because it's going to continue on from whatever part of the animation it was up to before you applied the stun. So while this is a great Jade for exploring, and can definitely let you get in a few extra hits in some situations, I like to think of it kind of like a set of training wheels for the talisman attack. It's good for learning at the start, but at some point you're better off taking them off and just learning the right time to use it without taking damage. As for the synergies, this Jade goes well with anything talisman related really. Throw on the Mob Quell Jades and you can be stunning up to 3 enemies at once, or try it with the Steely Jade for even more safety while detonating your talisman, although this particular combination is probably a bit overkill, and I wouldn't really recommend it. Next up we have the Mob Quell Jade, which comes in the Yin and the Yang variety. The Mob Quell Yin Jade can be found in the prison by completing a hacking puzzle to gain access to a chest. The Yang version on the other hand, can be crafted for 750 Jin from the pavilion. These Jades both cost 2 CP to equip and allow your talisman attack to hit 1 additional target, meaning if you equip both at the same time, you can tag 3 targets with a single attack. This does have a niche use in situations where you're fighting multiple enemies at once, and has the added benefit of letting you trigger your transmute into ki, wealth, or health ability multiple times for 1 cast. And I did like to use one of these Jades on a few bosses that had multiple opponents. However, outside of that, there aren't many situations that really justify the combined 4 CP cost of using both at once. As we just mentioned before, it does technically synergize well with the Stasis Jade for stuns, as well as the Steely Jade to ensure you get your detonation off. However, it's not exactly a particularly potent synergy. And lucky last of the green Jades is the Steely Jade. Steely Jade can be found in the power reservoir inside a hackable chest. This Jade costs 2 CP to equip and prevents your talisman detonation from being interrupted when taking damage. This one is pretty straightforward at first glance, but in my opinion is one of the better Jades in the game, and let me tell you why that is. Having this Jade equipped means you won't get interrupted while detonating, meaning you're all but guaranteed to get all your damage off as long as you land the initial talisman attack. But what it doesn't tell you is all the damage you take during the channeling of the detonation is all converted to internal damage. That's when your health bar turns red instead of disappearing. Now, to get across how amazing this is, I have to explain a few key features of internal damage. For starters, so long as you don't get hit again, you'll slowly convert this internal damage back into real health. And the second and more important thing is, internal damage can never actually kill you. Even if your entire health bar is internal damage and you get hit again, as long as it's internal damage, you still won't die. Now combine this with a 5-key explosion from a full control and you have yourself an on-demand 1.3 second window of semi-invincibility. You do have to play a bit safe if you took a beating during this window to let your internal damage regenerate, but even if you did, there are Jades that can help with this, or better yet, even turn it into an advantage. And that leads us into the various synergies this Jade has. Now, if we're looking to offload this internal damage, obviously the Breather Jade is going to be a big help. As long as you can hit something, you'll recover your internal damage in no time at all. Alternatively, for a more passive approach, the Recovery Jade is going to boost your natural regen by a huge amount, and before you know it, your health bar will be back to where it was without even having to take a puff of the pipe. And finally, one of my favourite combinations, pair it up with the Reciprocation Jade to transfer a portion of all that internal damage to an enemy when landing an unbound counter. This is definitely a lot riskier of a strategy, but if you can pull it off, no other Jade combo can heal such a huge amount of health while simultaneously dealing crazy amounts of damage. And that's all for this one. Consider dropping a like and subscribing if you found this helpful. And stay tuned for the next episode, where we'll be covering the gold set of Jades. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.